lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She caught me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, welcome to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and we are at it. This is Friday night. 2 fun-filled hours of paranormal fun. Fun-filled with fun. Go figure. But welcome to the show, everybody. I hope you guys have had a great week, or an okay week, or you've had a week, and the week is over, and that's the good part. You're on your way now to the weekend, which is always a huge thing. I hope you got great things ahead of you this weekend. I know we all kind of need a lift right now. It's just everything is so heavy right now. It's just crazy. But I know I'm preaching to the choir when I say things like that. It's like y'all know how you're feeling. But I'm thrilled that so many of you are here with me, and more of you are coming in all the time. That's always a wonderful feeling and an honor. Always an honor. But I will do my best in the next 2 hours to keep you fully entertained, and barring any unforeseen stupidity, which at any time could happen here on the show. I'm not I'm not ruling anything out, because I don't pretend to be in control of the portal. I'm just kind of surfing it. I'm just trying to hang on as I go through it. But one thing I can tell you is that it's just you and me tonight. So if any of you out there have any paranormal goodness that you want to share, you've been kind of thinking about it, like, gosh, should I call in? The answer is yes, you should. And the way that you do that is by picking up your phone and calling 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. Now, for those of you listening on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, that's a different number than the normal TFR call-in number, but it's because I do shows all through the week, and I'm pretty much relying pretty heavily on my phones during those as well. So that is an option, but it's not the same as the standard TFR call-in for those of you over there, just so you know. But great to see all of you guys all the same. I hope to hear from you if you've got something to share. That would be plenty cool. It always makes my day to hear from you guys. So not that you have to. I'll still be doing everything I do, but it's just cool to hear you guys' experience. So if you want to call in, that option is available, as is. If you're not really into calling, it kind of freaks you out, you can always email. Now, if you email tonight, I'm probably not going to get to your story or whatever tonight, but I will get to it on a future show. And you can email the show at paranormalportalradio@gmail.com. That's always a way to get a hold of us here on the show and let us know what's going on, or if you got a story to share. And even if you don't want to broadcast, if you just want to talk to me about it, I'm happy to listen and give my 2 cents, whatever it's worth, to help you maybe understand what's going on, or things that you can try or do, or get you connected with people that can help you. That's always something that I've taken a lot of pride in, is that we have some amazing people that are attached to the show or affiliated with the show that have offered their services to help. And it's all pro bono, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you've got something really troubling going on in your home and it's getting scary, let me know. I'll get you in touch with those people, and they certainly will do their best to help you out. Nothing's guaranteed, of course, but I tell you, everyone that's been referred so far has gotten back to me and told me that, it's been wonderful, amazing. It was great to have those conversations and to talk with both Sean or Deb or Barb or whomever they connected with, and how much it helped them. So, and that's no charge to you guys. It's just something that these wonderful people have put forward to make themselves available to be there for you guys. So there's options on the table. We're not just a story show. We're not just a phenomena show. We also try to get involved in helping where we can. So, and that's by the goodness and graciousness of those three individuals that I just mentioned, Deb. And speaking of Deb, we're going to have Deb come on the show in December on the 18th is what it looks like right now. So she will be on doing live readings for callers to the show. So I thought that'd be a nice gift to give you guys. I know so many of you enjoy that so much, and it's always a pleasure to have Deb on. So she'll be coming in December and doing readings to callers to the show. So I hope you guys will take advantage of that. But that's December 18th. So quite a bit in the distance. Also putting together an interview with a gentleman who has what I think is one of the most compelling photographs of what could be the face of a Sasquatch peeking through some spruce trees. And I mean, the first time I saw this image, I was just like, it just blew me away. It was like, wow, that is like so many witness descriptions. And I'd never seen that before. Obviously, I've never seen a Sasquatch before, but when I saw that picture, I was like, boom, that's amazing. So I'm working on putting together a show with that individual to come on. I'll let you know when that's all firmed up. But it may be as soon as next Wednesday. We'll see how his schedule works out. But that will be a lot of fun. And he's also an avid researcher, he and his wife. So it'll be a great discussion, but that may be next Wednesday. So without further ado, I guess we should get to it, because we got stuff to get to. And as that is the case, the first thing I want to read to you guys tonight is coming from animalien.com. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not. I don't know. I know that they did start a podcast as well. It's it's like anomalian. I don't know. There's an inflection that they use, and I can't quite get it right. But it's a great site. They do a great job covering a lot of different phenomena. But this is an article I thought was kind of interesting, because there's been many people talking about the weird magnetic stuff going on with the Earth, with the magnetic pole. Apparently is currently racing towards Siberia on our Earth here. And so the magnetic North Pole is migrating towards Siberia, which I'm thinking might actually make us more equatorial here eventually in the north of Idaho, which would be cool, because palm trees and endless summers would be just fine. I don't think that's how it works, though, but I'm hoping. But anyway, there is an article here that says anomaly has occurred in Earth's magnetic field. So let's check this out. And it says on June 28th in the Preston Laboratory in the UK, what the hell is it? Oh, magnetometers recorded strange fluctuations in the planet's magnetic field, which lasted about half an hour. To this day, scientists cannot pinpoint exactly what did happen. When Stuart Green, the head of the British laboratory, saw an anomaly, he first decided to check information about the speed of the solar winds. Surprisingly, that day there were no flows that could excite the magnetic field. Stuart decided to contact his colleagues from other countries, and as it turned out, a magnetic anomaly took place not only over the UK, but rather around the world. Scientists began to come up with various theories to explain what was happening. In physics, what happened is called a continuous pulsation. One can imagine a swaying sheet of paper in which someone is blowing. The solar wind can have a similar effect on the magnetosphere. However, as determined, there was no solar wind on June 23rd. It is known that a magnetic field is formed as a result of processes in the Earth's core. Consequently, the true cause of vibrations can be hidden underground. In the core, according to scientists, something is really happening. For example, in Siberia, the temperature is rapidly increasing. Well, that's not how I imagined it. That was supposed to be here. So no one can say for sure exactly what happens in the core. To study processes, you need not only experience, but also equipment. An anomaly can worsen the condition of people or cause earthquakes. Yeah, I guess that's a little more scary than I imagined. Obviously, we don't want earthquakes. We don't want people getting hurt or people losing their homes or undergoing natural disasters. But there is something shifting, ladies and gentlemen. And I obviously I have no idea what it is that's going on for sure. But I think it's just a natural fluctuation. I know a lot of people get really alarmed about things like temperature and global this and global that, and oftentimes it gets blamed on our human presence here on Earth. And no, I'm not arguing that we have tend to be a pretty big burden on the natural environment around us. There's no question that we've had impact, but I do think that there is a natural biorhythm to things like the Earth. It's a complex living organism, in my opinion, and certainly it has a biorhythm of its own, just like we have biorhythms. I believe planets have biorhythms, maybe even solar systems, maybe even galaxies. It's hard to say, but I don't know that what's going on is necessarily unnatural, but we could certainly be exacerbating it, I suppose, with our presence and with our footprint of just being here. But I guess it's interesting to note. It's interesting to see all of these various changes happening. I know that my God, the world that I knew as a child hasn't appeared in many, many years, and I mean that in terms of weather and in terms of seasons. It's like everything right now seems to be like on its head. There's no normal anymore as far as I can tell. I mean, I remember being a kid, and granted, I was a lot smaller then, so some of it may be that. But I remember these mountains of snow from snowplows when I grew up in Minnesota, and we would have these huge mounds of snow, and we would build tunnel systems and forts in these things. And now you're lucky to get something the size of my desk, as far as because of the different warm-ups that we never used to experience when I was a kid. Throughout the winter season, it was just pretty much cold, and then it was spring. But there seems to be a much more temperate winter, whereas there's fluctuations that occur now, and sometimes there's rain. And I remember the first time I saw a brown Christmas in Minnesota, and I about pooped myself. I was like, "What's going on here? Is the end of the world coming?" But it's just, I think these are natural biorhythms to the Earth, and we just don't know quite what we're dealing with yet. We just haven't been around long enough. We haven't been keeping records long enough. And they do a lot of ice cores and stuff in the Arctic and down in Antarctica and such to drill down and see environmental conditions over tens of thousands of years and such. And I suppose that could glean some information too. But I think when you think of the term in terms of a planet that is, billions of years old, or however old the Earth is, and I think it's billions, tens of thousands of years is still just a blink. And so I don't know. It's curious. I'm not one of those people that gets really alarmed by these changes, but I think it's worth noting, it's worth watching, and certainly if we are doing things that can exacerbate it, then I guess we should probably fix it. But I don't know that it's necessarily the popular idea, as far as what we're doing and how much of an impact we're having. But I don't know that it's not either. I just don't have that education. But anyway, I thought it was interesting, and I thought I would share it with you, and I did. See, that's how I work. So, did I mention the phone lines are open? I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing. I have a lot of fun doing this. I hope you guys enjoy my sense of humor, because it's free and it's all night. You're going to get it for 2 full hours right now. Let me see. Where's the other one? There's another one that I wanted to read. This one I thought was kind of wild. I find it interesting when celebrities of a sort come forward with their paranormal events. I used to love watching that show. It was, God, what was it? It was like, it had to do with all these celebrities from, TV and film and such, and they would talk about their ghost stories and stuff. It was, I don't know if it was my ghost story or what, my celebrity ghost story maybe, but I always found those interesting, not because I think that their experiences are any more valid than anyone else's, but I do think it does take a bit of bravery for them to come forward, because it can affect their career. It's like if you're if your doctor suddenly, and for this community, it probably wouldn't be a big deal. But if, let's say, a normal doctor started coming out and talking about all the UFOs he's seeing, he might lose a lot of patients. So there's certain jobs that have a professional quality to them, and when somebody goes off the beaten path, it does raise alarm for a lot of people, because there's a lot of people that don't believe in this stuff. So I found those stories interesting, because certainly those people are kind of rolling the dice by going out there and saying, "Hey, I saw a ghost. I experienced this. I experienced that." And I thought that was pretty cool, that even in light of that, they still did come forward. But this story has to do with a UFC guy, and I think I recognize the name. Is UFC's Diego Sanchez. UFO was watching me. Now, curiously enough, ladies and gentlemen, the image that, let me copy this and put it over in TFR for the viewers there, because I am going to comment on the imagery used in this video, or in this article, because it has personal significance to me, and this is the first time I'm seeing it myself. So there's the article. I pasted it over in TFR chat room as well, and those of you on YouTube, of course, are seeing it live. But this UFO is not too different from the one that I witnessed when I was looking through the night vision binoculars, and many of you are familiar with that story. But the only difference would be that the gap between these two, this seam would be much greater, and in between were these panels. There were like these rectangular panels in here, and they would light and going around in circles. Like the lights would be going around and around like that, and it was just spectacular. So it was emitting all this light, and that's why when I didn't use the night vision binoculars, that's why it was so much more incredible, because I was like, I got to see this with my own eyes. So I took down the binoculars and looked, and there's nothing. There's the tree, above the tree, there's the night sky, but there's nothing there. And I raised up the binoculars. There it is, surely just sitting there. They're about 30 feet above that tree, sitting there just hovering stationary, absolutely silent, emitting that light from those pulsing flashes of that middle section. Take them down, it's not there. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I love this picture, because it's so close to what I did see, with that one main difference. But anyway, I have been asked to try to elaborate that. Some people have been interested in me elaborating more. And quite honestly, that story is pretty much what happened. There isn't a lot more to tell than what I've said in the times that I have mentioned it, either in interviews or here on the show. I was looking through night vision binoculars, goofing around, and there it was on top of a tree, and I was blown away. Lowered the glasses after a while because I wanted to see it with my own eyes. It wasn't there. Raised the glasses, it's there. Lowered it, it wasn't there. Raised it, it was there. And then I decided that, they're probably sitting there watching me too, and it became really uncomfortable, because I realized I didn't just catch them doing something. I was what they were doing. And so I was like, no. I'm good. I've seen it. It's real. I'm going to bed. So I went and shut the doors and locked it and paced in the house for several hours while I was processing this amazing event. So really, there's nothing more to tell. I don't know. I mean, if there was more to say, I would have said it. Trust me. I'm not leaving out any key details. It was just this really incredible event, and then it was over. So, but this is about Diego Sanchez. UFO was watching me, and this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com. And I got 8 minutes. Yeah, I should be able to get through this. This is just a few minutes long. It says, the Ultimate Fighting Championship legend recently wrote about an encounter with an unidentified object. Celebrity sightings of UFOs are certainly nothing new. Many famous people, including Miley Cyrus, like a wrecking ball, Mick Jagger and David Bowie all claim to have had encounters with alien visitors. Now, we can add another name to this list. UFC fighter Diego Sanchez. According to a recent tweet, Sanchez had been working outside his home in New Mexico when he and his daughter witnessed something otherworldly in the sky above them. I was doing energy work on my patio as a UFO flew right up on me, he wrote. I called for my daughter quick, it says quick, and she watched this thing. It says Hoover, but I think they mean hover. Only hundreds of feet away, Albuquerque is a trip. Sightings are regular here. Okay, so they're by Albuquerque. But this, this stuff was contact tonight. It was obvious that it was watching me. Well, I can relate. Sadly, the 38-year-old didn't manage to capture an object on camera. However, he was adamant that what he saw was real and didn't take too kindly to skeptical replies from other Twitter users. Shut up. He's like, this is one of those guys when he tells you to shut up, you actually do shut up. He says, shut up. Shut up, he wrote in a response to somebody who had asked to see pictures. It happened. My 67th sighting this year. Trust when you are blessed to witness what your eyes are seeing. You don't run for a phone. You just watch in awe of something defying physics. Yeah, I got to admit, for me, that's the one regret I have about the sighting that I had was that the night vision binoculars had no way to record. And I didn't think of anything other than, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I wasn't thinking of any other manner of taking a photo. I had my cell phone, but I already couldn't see it with my eyes, so I didn't believe I could capture it with a cell phone. The only thing I would recommend if anybody's listened to my story and thought, I got to get some night vision binoculars or night vision viewing, get something with recording attached to it, because I have no doubt at all that I would be sitting on the Patterson-Gimlin film of the UFO world, if I had the ability to record that. There would be no question. What I saw was just that in my face, up close, personal, and real. But I have nothing but a personal experience because there was no way to record it. So if any of you are out there thinking, I should get some night vision, get something that has built-in recording. And then you're golden in case such a thing should happen. I don't know. I think it was just maybe it was meant to be. Maybe it was stupid luck, right place at the right time, just so I could experience it. Because for me, that's the big thing. Like, I'm not driven by being the guy that provides the proof. Whatever people believe is up to them has always been my cornerstone of my pursuit of this stuff. But I'm doing it for me. I'm out there looking into this stuff for me and for any of you that want to go on the journey with me. But I don't need to be the guy. I don't need to be the new Roger Patterson or anything. Although if I had it, I would release it for sure. I mean, and people would say it was fake, I'm sure. But in any case, I would know, and I would put it out there, and people can come to their own conclusions, I guess. But, yeah, very, very cool. I think these kind of sightings probably aren't, maybe they're not as rare as we think they are, and maybe there's more of this going on all the time. Maybe they are coming more and more into our world. And that may be met with skepticism by some. It might be met with outright denial by others, and that's fine. But the amount of people looking skyward now seems to be more than ever. And maybe they've always been here, but there's just more people paying attention now. But people are seeing a lot of sightings. They're seeing a lot of things in the skies. And what's interesting, though, is that there doesn't seem to be... There seems like certain periods of time had their unique crafts. Like it seems in the 70s, everybody was seeing cigar-shaped stuff. Cigar-shaped craft. In the 50s and 60s was saucers. I saw more of a saucer craft, but with the distinction that I just mentioned. It sounds like, I don't know, the image that they're providing here was that it was a saucer type. But I'm looking to see yeah, he doesn't really describe what it looked like. He just said it was there, at least in this article. So if there's more information on what he saw, I'm not privy to that, but there does seem to be different types of vehicles that show up at different times. Of course, the great triangles or the boomerang shapes, like the Phoenix Lights incident, which, apparently was enormous. So it's not just a question of, was it man-made? Well, no, because apparently the craft that was witnessed in the Phoenix Lights incident was miles wide, or at least a mile wide. It was huge, just enormous. And there's several other sightings like that, like Japan Airlines sightings from those pilots. Whatever they saw was supposed to be huge, like the size of a football stadium or better, up there in the sky, and with some other anomalous little craft around them as well. But, I don't know. It's just, is there more of it? I don't know. Maybe there is. Maybe they're coming more and more into our sphere of reality, or into a oversight kind of role. I don't know. It depends on what you believe, I guess. But there does seem to be more reports. But then again, there are more people accepting this, I think, than ever before. And that's, of course, a factor whenever you're looking into this stuff. But I don't know. I would suggest looking, because even when we were in Coloma, when I was up on the top of the mountain with Michael, he and I were looking through our night vision. He had one and I had one. I saw a blinking light just sitting there blinking on. It'd blink every 10 seconds, but it was stationary. And I just happened to see it blink when I was scanning the sky. Didn't move, just a blink. And then it would blink and blink. And then I talked to Michael. I'm like, oh, look over here, move. And he's like, where? And he handed me his laser, and I was able to point right at it. Just as I was raising the laser, the light stayed on and it started moving. So it was up there. It wasn't making any sound that I heard. It wasn't necessarily quiet up there. There was an ambient breeze and, catching the leaves and stuff. So it wasn't dead quiet or anything up there. But, when you have a plane around, you hear a plane. And I'm not sure exactly how high up this was, but it was pretty crazy. So I would suggest start watching the stars. You might see something you can't explain. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the first break already. Sammy Hagar. Oh, yeah, I did see a cloaked craft, Bam. You're absolutely right. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first half hour. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes with half hour number 2 of tonight's Paranormal Portal.
From the dawn.
ladies and gentlemen. I was here waiting for you. Glad you made it back. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody that's here and everybody that's coming here. And hope you guys are doing great. Hope you're enjoying the first part of the show. I got more of that kind of fun lined up right now. So you're in the right place. The next thing I want to go over to you is another UFO reports. This one I find interesting. I'm not sure I know who the hell they're talking about here, but it sounds interesting nonetheless because it has to do with UFOs, and that's what we do here on the portal. So this one is not really having anything to do with images, so I'm not going to copy it over. It's a really quick story, as it turns out, and this is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, and this is... Man claims he saw Robbie Williams on a UFO. So we're all going to find out who Robbie Williams is in a second here. Maybe it's regional. Maybe people know. But it says, a man from Bradford, England, claims that he was once abducted by aliens and saw the singer aboard their ship. I guess he's a singer. I didn't know that. Okay. 55-year-old Russ Kellett, who gave up his career as a businessman and become a full-time UFO researcher, gained a keen interest in the phenomena after being abducted by extraterrestrials. I suppose that'll do it. The incident in question allegedly happened back in 1999 while he had been riding his motorcycle, or motorbike, it says, to a friend's house near Druid's Altar in Bingley at around 10 p.m. at night. I went through a tunnel and ended up in a room with tall, bald aliens, he said. They had the looks of a human, but were 10 feet tall. That's not the norm, is it? Not as far as I'm concerned. Either that or I got really shortchanged. They were some smaller ones, and they all looked the same. It sounds like the Greys, I'm just assuming. But after being sat down in a chair by the entities, he recalled being injected by something and then having a helmet placed on his head and a tube shoved into his mouth and down his throat. Okay. Strangely, he also recalled being given a uniform and weapon, as if he were some sort of soldier. It was then that he believes he encountered British singer and UFO enthusiast Robbie Williams. I am in a military unit on a mission, he said. He, Williams, is behind me. We had helmets on. I was ready to go to go on a mission. I looked at him, and he must have been leader one. I said, don't I know you from somewhere? Robbie Will? An alien then shouted, get back in line. You do not mess with these dudes. And this is happening to more people than you realize. But keep on watching television and the adverts. Ooh, so he's a little cocky at the end there too. I'm sure people get abducted. I guess. I've heard from people here on the show firsthand that have told us about their experiences, and I don't doubt them. I mean, obviously they're taking people up and checking them out for some reason. Again, that seems to have to do with family lines, but I guess not exclusively. It has to start somewhere, I guess. But what's with the being a military and fighting and stuff like that? I don't know. That's very strange. I would like to hear more of this guy's story because I wonder if he recalls anything else, or does it just fade to black and then he's on the motorbike again? I don't know. Very strange indeed, but I don't know. I still don't know who Robbie Williams is, but at least we know he's a singer now. And it's apparently part of the UFO Special Forces. I don't know. That's a strange one. It's a strange report, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not making fun of it. I'm just making fun because that's what I do here on the show. So don't ever take that as me being cheeky about people making these claims. Hell, what do I know what people have experienced? I'm not the judge and jury of that. I just listen, and if there's something humorous in my mind, I'll speak it. So don't ever get offended by my wit. It's certainly not meant to be offensive, and that's not what I do. I don't degrade people that have had incredible experiences. I've had plenty of incredible experiences myself, so far be it from me to say somebody did or didn't have some other experience. But interesting anyway, and I guess even singers are not exempt from duty. Their duty. I said duty, yeah. Somebody thought that out there. I know they did. All right, so that's an interesting story. Quick little tidbit, all the same. But yeah, creepy. I don't know. Wonder why they would do that. Why would they grab people up and say, yeah, we're going to get those guys. Go grab some sheep, and we're like the sheep. They grab us and dress us up and Rambo us out and then kick us out the door. Go shoot those guys. And then when you're done, get back here. I don't know. Very strange. But it's a strange world we live in. Oh, thank you, Long Island Bigfoot. Very cool. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Very, very cool. That goes a long way to help us. And, and if you're new to the show, any of you out there listening or watching, if you're new to the show and you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Please become a part of what we're doing. We do broadcast live Wednesdays through Sundays on YouTube. On TFR, we're on Friday, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is tonight. And other than that, I do 1-hour shows on Thursday and Sunday on YouTube. But we also have the podcast as well. But if you want to be a part of what we're doing and you want to know when we're doing it, getting subscribed is about the best way to do it. Otherwise, definitely follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Paranormal Portal Radio, or look for look for Paranormal Portal Fans Group that was started by our very own Cha-Cha. It's a great group. A lot of listeners are finding it and becoming a part of the discussions over there. And she's always posting really cool stuff. She's doing it on the Paranormal Portal Radio page and the fans group page. So she's doing some pretty incredible stuff. Thank you for all that help, Cha-Cha. We love you bunches. So let's continue our journey tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I've got an article I want to get into now. This is one I've had open for a while, but I hadn't had a chance to read it. This is one of our Brent Swancer articles. And again, Brent Swancer is the most prolific paranormal journalist out there as far as I'm concerned. He's really incredible, does a great job. His articles are just top-notch, very professionally done. And he did one. This one's dated November 6th, and it's called The Bizarre Tale of the Haunted Website. I've never even heard of it. That's what I love about this guy's articles, though, is that not only will he cover the common ground, but he'll find all these really obscure, weird things that I've never even heard of. So I actually learn a lot by reading his articles, more so than anything. He's oftentimes introducing me to a lot of phenomena that I didn't know existed or only knew of maybe little blurbs about, but he'll do this real comprehensive overview. And you can find Brent Swancer's work on mysteriousuniverse.org. Definitely check it out. It's an amazing site. Nick Redfern writes over there. Brent Swancer writes over there. Jocelyn LeBlanc. Several other really good people are submitting articles over there. It's a great resource for your paranormal interests. And they've got it all. I mean, they really run the gambit over there. So I had to wet the whistle. All right, so let's see about this haunted website. Bizarre Tale of the Haunted Website. It says there have been various ghostly legends and tales told throughout the ages. Their truth very often obscured by the mists of time. While these stories go back centuries, such tales have also managed to worm their way into the modern age, embedding themselves within our technology and modern habits. This can be seen especially on the internet, which has managed to spawn all manner of modern urban legends for which it is not always exactly clear what is true and what is just fiction. One story that has made the rounds in recent times concerns a mysterious website that is said to be haunted, cursed, or both. Like many internet legends, the tale of the haunted website has a rather in-depth backstory. According to the lore, there was a little girl born in the 18th century, and although it is unknown what her original name was, she was most often referred to as Rapley Snatus. Oh, you gotta be. Oh no, if you do that backwards, I don't even know where this is going, but Rapley Snatus. And if you say that backward, it says Satan's helper. Jeez. So I'm not sure if that's where this article is going, but that's like, what? This is kind of wicked. She was apparently born after her parents suffered through several miscarriages. So for them, her birth was considered a bit of a miracle, especially since she turned out to be a very healthy and seemingly normal baby girl. But things would turn out to be quite sinister. It is said that as the baby grew, it was noticed that she had strangely shaped birthmark on her face, and although her parents didn't think much of it at first, rumors began to swirl around their village. People began to claim that the odd birthmark was actually the mark of the devil himself, which caused people to react to the girl with either fear, animosity, or some combination of both. The dark tale says that although her mother loved her, the father became more and more convinced that the rumors were true and that his daughter had been marked by Satan. He took to forbidding her to go outside until after midnight, and as his obsession with the devil grew, he supposedly took to locking Ripley into a room full of mirrors and told her not to look into them because her visage would cause them to crack and allow the devil into this world. Pretty creepy stuff already, but it gets even weirder. Oh, that's a creepy picture. The abuse directed towards Ripley by her father apparently became worse, with him putting her through various tortures in order to try to drive the devil out. And as this was going on, he is described as rapidly losing his grip on reality. He became an eccentric recluse, never leaving his cursed daughter out of his sight for even a moment. And then one day, it all came to a head, and he just snapped. According to the legend, he then brutally ended his daughter, as well as his wife, before then ending himself. And it's said that the bodies of Ripley and her mother were lashed to a tree in the forest facing opposite directions. And neither one of them ever received a proper burial, with Ripley just being unceremoniously interred right there under the tree she had been tied to. The father supposedly did all of this grim work, thinking this would purge the world of evil, but instead, Ripley remained. The original legend tied to Ripley is that the spirit lurks about mirrors, gravitating towards them as a moth does to the flame, and that it is possible to contact her through these mirrors. Traditionally, it's said that if you want to make her appear, you must be alone in a darkened room at exactly midnight and write the name words Ripley Snatus, I don't know, backwards on a mirror 6 times by candlelight. And if you do it right, the mirror will then crack, and she will supposedly appear in the fractured mirror image behind you. She'll then communicate with the one who summoned her, but you are never to turn around and ever try to look at her directly, as this will make her angry and she will either attack you or kill you, depending on her mood. In order to make her go away, you're supposed to blow out the candle while saying Ripley, or Ripley, or whatever, I don't know. After which she will vanish and leave you alone in the dark room once again. This was the common legend, but it also seems Ripley has managed to make her way into the internet world. The new twist on the legend is that there's a website devoted to her memory, simply called Ripley Snatus. In order to view the page, you must first gain access, but the site is said to open for some, but not for others. It is unknown why this should be, but some people simply cannot get into the site, even after switching devices, no matter how many times they try. If one is lucky enough to get in, they'll be treated to a collage of creepy photographs, allegedly of Ripley, as well as cryptic spooky messages in her honor, all accompanied by unsettling off-kilter music in the background. This opening page is another hurdle to cross, and there seems to be nothing else one can do here. No links, no boxes to type something into, just a wall of eerie creepiness. In some versions of the tale, if you access the site, there will be a message or even a voice that tells the visitor to come back at midnight. Oh, jeez. Hi, honey. If you do access the site at exactly midnight, there will be supposedly a box that appears where there was none before, and the site will instruct you to type in the name of a person who you wish to get revenge on as you imagine that person's face. According to ominous internet accounts, this will sometimes be preceded by riddles one must answer to move on to the box, or even the ghostly voice of Ripley herself asking you if you want to play. Some reports even describe seeing the ghost of the girl lurking in the reflection of the computer screen. At this point, you probably do not want to play at all, but if you do, and type that name in, the person you have specified will apparently soon after experience some misfortune, calamity, or worse. The payment for the service is that replay now gets to come to you in your dreams and nightmares for as long as you live. This sounds like it must all be surely pure urban legend, but there are numerous accounts of people visiting the site and experiencing all manner of weird things. One report from the site, Creeped, CREEPD, comes from a witness who says that he had quite the bizarre experience when using the site. The witness explains, "So at first it wasn't all that scary, just a page with some creepy noises and candles, and all you can do is type in your name, email address, and the country you live in. You then click a button and you're invited to come back at midnight. You can't do anything else, and as I don't scare easily, I went back to the page at midnight, but now it was different. It starts off a little creepy with a few scary sounds and weird pictures, and from there the pictures of the girl get frighteningly more scary. You then get to a page and it asks you to put in a victim's name. Well, I just type in the first name that popped into my head. We'll say John, and then from there, it tells you to click on the candle. After doing this, the screen starts flashing with all these freaky images, and I heard all these screams, so I quickly shut it down as I was severely freaked out. That night I went to bed and had weird dreams about the little girl and the images I had seen, but nothing overly frightening. I went about my day as normal, but when I returned home that afternoon, I had a call from my mom. My Uncle John had mysteriously passed away that night of what they believed to be a heart attack. They said he was found in the corner of the lounge room with a look of absolute fear on his face, like he'd seen a ghost. They also said that he had this strange red marking on his chest. If quickly remembered back to the site, and after clicking the button, text popped up saying, "Your victim has been marked." Surely this was all a coincidence. It had to be. That night I struggled to get to sleep, but when I did, had long dreamless sleep. When I woke the next morning, there was a crack in my mirror, and this was 3 days ago. I haven't slept since. I feel like every time I close my eyes, I see that little girl, and when I turn off the light, I think I see her at the corner of my eye behind me, getting closer, smiling, tormenting me like she was once tormented. Do not look for the site, and if you do manage to get on it, do not enter a name because you will regret what follows. There are numerous other accounts and stories like this floating around in forums online and on sites like Reddit, and we're left to wonder just what is going on here. Although there seems to be plenty of people who are convinced there is some reality to this and that it is a genuine paranormal phenomena, it seems more likely that this is just a creepy urban legend. First, it's based on a spooky story that can't be confirmed about a girl that may not even have ever existed at all. And then there is sort of suspicious fact that her unlikely name, Replacenatus, is Satan's helper, spelled backwards. Boom! There is, in fact, an actual website called Replacenatus, which I will refrain from linking to here, and it is indeed supposedly every bit as creepy as you might imagine, but it is most likely a site created to be scary as either viral marketing or merely for someone's sick sense of fun. It is apparently quite unsettling, yet there is no evidence at all that anything paranormal happens there. In the end, it's just probably a scary internet story, like many others out there, but it still has managed to draw to it a large amount of discussion and debate, and is all certainly a very bizarre and creepy tale all the same. You know, I will say that I've never heard of this before. This is just strange and weird. It's kind of sounds like a creepypasta to me, just much like Slender Man or whatever. But here's the thing. If people believe in it, if people believe in a phenomenon, does it become real? Do we manifest these things? And I think we do. I think that by virtue of people believing in such things, they do get a reality of some kind. And I'm not saying that suddenly, they're real, but they're it's like every bit of energy invested in something like the Slender Man. Does it create tulpas? Does it create experiences that people can have just because of that energy? Does it become somewhat sentient? And I'm not claiming I know the answer to this. I really don't, but it's something I consider quite a bit because I think that there's power in faith. And by that, I mean, that we certainly do manifest things in our lives very fundamentally. We think it just means having a sunny outlook and you'll have a sunny outlook kind of life. But it's more than that. I think that we manifest things sometimes completely inadvertently just by the amount of fear that we have for a thing. So like if you're always thinking, oh God, someday that dog, the neighbor's dog that really barks a lot, he's going to bite me. That dog's going to bite me. I know he's going to bite me. And sure enough, eventually the dog does bite that person. So, did they manifest it? Well, maybe. Maybe there was an energy that was shared between the two of them and that created that experience. I don't know. It's really weird. So I think there's that. There's, some people are just really suggestible. And if we are indeed these powerful manifestors of things, then could that suggestibility create things? And I think to some degree, yeah. I don't know. There's just so much that we don't understand about ourselves. We don't understand about the fundamental makeup of the world and our role in that makeup of the world. If you look, and I don't get political and stuff, but if you look at current events right now, there's like this serious, it feels like we're teetering, on something. And it feels like a really trepidous kind of time. Like every step forward is just really uncertain as we're heading into wherever we're heading and whatever we're heading into. And some things just feel all wrong. Like this, whatever's going on shouldn't be going on. And, you can take that to mean whatever you want. I'm not sharing my own personal views, but my point is that are we manifesting that as well? Or is this the result of us manifesting things? In current events, if you look at the last several years, and I mean several, I don't mean just the last few years, I mean the last several years, there's been this resurgence of hate and distrust, and it seems to be perpetuated and forced onto our national psyche, and we create all kinds of victims and victimizations, and our culture becomes fractured, and suddenly things that I think were largely things of the past have resurfaced and become this national emergency once again. And it's like, wow, how did we get back here? We already went through this stuff, I thought. But then again, maybe it's just me wearing the rose-colored glasses. I don't know. But I think we manifest the world around us. I think we're living in the world we've manifested. And I think that there's certainly a responsibility that comes with that about minding what you put energy into. So, I don't know. Just some thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, but that was a great article. Very cool. I didn't know about that. I will say that I've heard that some psychics and people of that esoteric ability do say that spirits can allegedly travel via things like the internet, that they can move around just based on the fact that people are connecting in that manner. Can spiritual things be transferred that way as well? Maybe we're not quite as safe, when we're digging into the darkness in our homes, and maybe we're in a sense inviting things in. So I don't know what to think about that. I guess it's here's the thing. I don't think that our understanding of space and time is necessarily the universal truth of it. And maybe excuse me, hold on, I got a cough. Maybe by virtue of us connecting, we aren't really that far apart, because when we connect to people, like when I'm connecting to you doing this show, is there really all of this geography between us? Or have we, by virtue of coming together on this show, have we created, a link between all of you and me and the environment of the show? Does that create an energetic link, and therefore things could maybe transfer. I don't know. I'll kind of leave it out there and let you guys decide what you think is real and what you think isn't. But I think it's worth mentioning, and certainly it's worth considering, because we really don't understand our abilities. We don't understand really what we are and how uniquely we interact with our environments. So, wow, that's a break. We're at the hour break already, ladies and gentlemen. Where did time go? Well, I'll be here waiting for you. Go have a break. Grab something to drink. I'll meet you back here in just a couple minutes.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace their lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me as their lies keep falling apart. With my silence, I am not a stupid boy. No more breaking me with kindness, just you dance upon my joy. Leading me with empty promise, you're just another fucking gas. Taking another slice of my sanity, just make sure that you're well fed.
Caroline is not like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that's different from themselves. Her life force, it is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
I'm always confused, Ness. I'm always confused. But you guys are always wonderful. Thank you to everybody that's here with us as we traverse the night and go on our merry journey into the paranormal portal. We're into hour number 2 already. I don't know how that happened so quick. Mushroom cloud. Blew my mind. That's what it did. So what do you guys want to talk about? The lines are open, though. If you want to talk to me, you can sure do that. The number here in the Paranormal Portal is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. That's the numbers for fun on the portal. They are the numbers for fun on the portal. So if you want to call and tell me something paranormal that you've experienced, I'm all ears. I'm a little bit of face and belly too, but that goes without saying. So, back to you manifesting things. There's the unknown. The unknown, ladies and gentlemen, he's created some of the cool new segments, the little video montage segments that he's put together. He's the guy. He's in the chat room right there on YouTube. Thank you, brother. I appreciate those. They are awesome. Manifesting things, I think, is something we definitely do. I think that I honestly believe that we have phenomenal abilities to manifest things. I just don't think we remember how. Like maybe there was some point in our ancient history when we were much better at it, or maybe it's something that's emerging with us. As consciousness grows, so too does the ability that we have to reflect ourselves onto the world around us. So as awareness grows, so too does the ability to manipulate our worlds. And I don't mean that in a controlling, crappy way. I mean in a beautiful way, like that we can truly affect, phenomenal changes. Maybe it's worth the thought. Certainly, it's not a new concept. It's the idea that we can do amazing things is about as old as time. So I just think that by and large we just don't have the techniques or the ability to learn it. Like I think there are systems that teach that. In fact, I think that basically what we understand as true magics and stuff, I think that they are basically teaching a method of manifestation. That method it entails using mediums, perhaps to help the vibrational qualities, to emphasize and magnify your intention to create a change. They sometimes require words and motions and gestures and drawing of certain symbols. And all of those things are just meant to focus the will of the practitioner. And therefore, the magic is never in the wand. It's never in the symbols or the seals or the signs. It's in you. And so the whole concept behind ceremonial and magical practices is to exert yourself onto the world around you. And that's simply manifestation. So whether you prefer the term magic or if you prefer the term manifesting, whatever you prefer, it doesn't, it's still the same concept, is projecting yourself into the world around you and creating change. So You know, a lot of people need systems. They need the rituals, the ceremonies, and there is value to them because to effectively do anything like that, it requires training your mind. You have to train your mind and train your focus, and that's what some of these systems work on, is how to focus your will. And by doing things like sometimes it's a matter of time and doing repetitive practices over and over. There's visualization exercises. There's so many different things, and learning about the mediums around us. Like there are certain elements in our world that can help magnify energies, I think. Some of that is crystals, some of that is, you know, herbal, some of that is certain shapes, and why they work, I don't know. But again, I think it's born within the person. They work because we believe they do. And so that's just that's what this is all about. I think that's the journey we're on. But we got a call. And let me see who's calling us right now. This is area code 585. You're on the air. I had to look real close.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm the guy who sent you that long paper.
Oh,
I emailed it to you.
yeah. That was really incredible. It's a lot of work you put into that, brother.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I called because in the same time frame, I've run into some real unusual things happening to me personally, and it was it seems like you were saying things are a little different nowadays and seem to be teetering on something.
Sure. Yeah.
And for me, I look back in my life and said, okay, wait a minute. I've been looking around for a little bit, actually. And I stopped about, 7 or 8 years ago, assuming what people were telling me was the truth and deciding that I'm not going to believe the experts till I understand more myself. And I look back and I have some paranormal experiences that are kind of cool, I guess, or unusual because I never really told anyone about them. But I remember I used to live in Kingston, Massachusetts, which is, down near the Pilgrims and Plymouth, Mass. And
sure.
I was a kid. I was always home alone. And some of the smaller things that would happen to me when I was alone, I'd get taps on the shoulder and be like, come on, man. I'd look behind it would, please. But I'd never tell anyone because it was not a big deal. But there was this one night, and I'm laying in bed, trying to go to sleep. My mother's like screaming up the stairs at me over something. Some chores I had missed or whatever. And above me is this full apparition woman floating, like looking at me. I'm looking at her. I could barely hear my mother because you're kind of in a state of shock. It was just unbelievable. I've never in my life, I've never had anything that came close to something like that. And my house apparently was built 3 doors down from the Catholic Church. And it was built, I remember getting home once, and my parents would put stones in the back to make a walkway. And they dug out gravestones. And I'm walking in the house, and I'm like, Mom, that's a gravestone. What is your pride? So I guess that could have had something to do with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's just
that can stir
crazy.
That can stir up some activity for sure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
As a kid, I remember there's the Evergreen Cemetery, which is down the street. And, even as a kid, I'm in the back seat of the car. I'm driving. My parents driving us somewhere, and I'm looking over in the cemetery. I used to go there as a kid alone. I would really want to do that now for whatever reason. But I'm looking over, and I see it sounds stupid. And I said to myself, can't be. It was a headless horseman right through. And I'm like, just is like, it just, things would happen in that area. Another time I was behind my house, and I want to tell you, something with at least a 12-foot wingspan, maybe bigger, went over me, and it wasn't a bird. I mean, it just, it almost had like a presence. Like when it went over me, I got a little, it made you afraid, I guess is what it was. At that, I was in my teens. So it is weird. And as I sent that other thing to you, it's things that happen that you can't catch on camera in general, I guess is what I would say, or can't prove easily, except for the hand thing that I sent. But other than that, anyway, figured I'd share those.
Yeah. When you saw the apparition, what was it you were seeing? Was it a woman or was it a male? Or
it was.
Okay. It
was definitely a woman, and it was almost like flowing green, like wispiness around her, but it was like I was laying down and it was horizontal to me, above me, just kind of looking at me. I almost felt like it was trying to protect me from my mother, if I want to be honest. It was very, it was cool. At the time, I be honest with you, I've never even told anybody, and when strange things have happened recently, you kind of go back in your head and you say, okay, so, these other things that I've experienced, although you kind of dismiss them because it doesn't seem reasonable, they become more realistic. It's similar to that project. It's, to me, when you can only see certain things from 50,000 feet above the planet, it infers that you have to be that high to notice it, and it's not something normal. You just don't take 2.5 miles of cliffside and make a 3D impression of a T-Rex head, which I think is one of the most fantastic ones in that series that I sent you.
Yeah.
And what's done recently is researched over the past 2-3 years, religion, really, because what I see is, at least in that sense, was everything that was man-made was destroyed, whether that be the newer stuff or the older stuff that I believe or proposes there. And everything that isn't is a testament to life. So, my reaction is just like I started listening to your show and looking into these other things, because quite frankly, it doesn't seem coincidental,
Right.
And things that happen, the tangible stuff is that paperwork, or the things that I have coordinates to, or places you could actually go check, and that's my goal, is to get some help with that. But that to the side, when you can't, if every cloud in the sky looks like an animal, and parts of those animals are actually colored and designed like said animal, you got to start thinking maybe the clouds aren't right? Maybe you're not looking at just clouds, maybe something else is going on, and it gets a little overwhelming after a while.
It does.
So I reach out and listen,
I appreciate that you sent it, and I think it's phenomenal, and it's mind-boggling, because to accomplish those things would require it would really require either a hell of a grasp on mathematics or some ability to go up there and look at what you're doing.
Well, and not only that, the reason I looked up religion is because, to me, and I when I was involved in the project, like 4 years into it, there was a time at which, and I'm an imaginative guy, I do a lot of photography, I do a lot of art and stuff. But anyways, the cool thing about having a good imagination, I think at least, is when you're using it. You know what I mean? When something's coming from your head as opposed to something that's not. And I was looking, and I remember the day, really, when my mind said, I don't talk to myself in the first person. I don't say Jason. I talk to myself, but I don't use my first name.
Right.
And all of a sudden, in my head, I hear, it's not Jason, my first name. It's not a matter of when you find something. It's not a matter of if you will. It's when you do. And all of a sudden, these patterns started, occurring. And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And as I looked closer, the picture was, I don't know, 6 miles of the planet from 11 miles up. You wouldn't notice it if you were closer. You wouldn't notice if you were further away.
Right.
So everything down there, I could see that was man-made, was destroyed, and everything else a testament to life. And over the past 3 or 4 years of going back to that and trying to figure it out, it's almost like I looked up religions because I wanted to understand the Noah's Ark story and the flood story.
Oh, sure.
And it transpires and goes multiple religions. And what I was looking at, in my opinion, and so my theory, would be that, a very, very clear warning. Like, here's what happens when in decadence or whatever's there is there. And whoever's there is also there, and they know more than I would. But the fact is, that story transcends religions, and it's not just about an ark. It's also in different flood relationships, and different religions state it differently, but it's a pretty consistent story.
Yeah.
And it really does look to me like, if you wanted to talk about, I wasn't a green dude. Like, I wasn't a big earthy guy. I got a a big 3/4 ton truck and stuff. You know what I mean? I just don't care. I never did, really.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm like, hold up, brother. Maybe I'm missing something. And maybe if you look at the world around us, like you're saying, and you see how, there's no unification, there's no real common humanity lately.
Right.
I'm looking at this saying, this is a real signal that there's a lot more in common, and yet nobody thinks this way, or nobody is aware of it, and it seemed important to me. So that's why I sent it to you. But again, I figured I'd reach out, at least talk to you. And,
No, I find
tell you the other weird.
It's really fascinating because I think whenever you start diving into these rabbit holes, it's amazing where it takes you. Now your work on that paper, and I won't give away too much of it because I have a lot more to understand before I do. But my point is that we've talked many times on the shows about artifacts out of time. Things like, the London hammer is the big one that I always cite. And that to me is, was found in Texas, and it was this rock with a stick coming out of it, or looked like a piece of wood. And they brought it home and broke it open. And inside was this hammer, a hammerhead, iron hammerhead attached to the handle. And the handle was so old that it was petrified, and it was becoming charcoal at the same time, or like it kind of got fused and they dated the rock, and the rock would have been about 300 million years old, and inside is a hammer, and when you look at that, there's this, what I've always fascinated myself thinking about was, has there been reboots, and of course the deluge, the flood that you're talking about is one such event, but is this a cycle? And, like civilizations are allowed to get to a certain point, and if they're doing it wrong, boom, there's a reboot, and then start over back to, scratching livings out of caves and work your way forward again. And maybe they'll do it right next time. And, because they're finding machined aluminum along mastodon skulls, and they're finding screws embedded in, hundreds of millions of year old rock, and things that couldn't possibly have happened just as a matter of chance or, some kind of fluke. There's obviously something been happening here for a very, very long time.
Even if you look at some of the cycles that whether it be capitalism or socialism or any of them, really, you're going to see that those cycles, they all seem to end the same way eventually, right?
Yeah.
And it's not always in a good way.
Right.
And the issue seems to be repeated cycles, and it goes across not only what you're saying. I think you're absolutely accurate, and I think there is a huge change at this point that's a kind of a make or break thing. I don't know why I feel that way, except for the weird things happening to me personally, and some of them seem bigger than me. Much bigger in the sense of what I showed you. It just I stick to myself, brother. You know what I mean? I don't usually talk to people. When I saw that, I'm like, it can't be. You can't have 40, and I only showed you 40 because there's hundreds.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. And if there are people there excavating without any supervision or accountability, I don't know what you put near a T-Rex head that's carved into 3 miles of the planet, but I got to think it's probably pretty important.
Yeah, it is. It's really a breathtaking work that you're doing. And ladies and gentlemen, just to paraphrase what he's talking about is he sent me Jason sent me a PDF file of some work that he's doing where he has looked at formations around our planet that are absolutely colossal scale, but they do very much look like very intentionally created, such as elephants being carved into a coastline, a huge elephant, like the pyramids would be like a toenail.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I spoke to numerous academic institutions and talked to the guy, David Johnson, who found the NASA lines, and some others. And I got a split decision. What I found was, half of them, David Johnson and some of the others, just dismissed it out of hand.
Sure.
Because it's too big to be. And then the other half, I was referred to the Department of Defense. I was referred to... I was told there's no experts in the field. We don't know what to do. And it's kind of true. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There's no precedence to it.
Right.
If you look at that dock that's from 2 miles up.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the middle of Inuit land, which is, native culture in that area.
Uh-huh.
And the fact is, it's not there for glacial.
Right.
First of all, the whole area was under the glaciers. But second of all, it's not there to do research. And if you look closely, there's areas that would just a little more help. I guarantee you, I'll spin some heads around. I think there's some stuff there that's really important. So I look forward to continuing it, but it's not been easy.
No, I can't imagine it has. It looks like it's an incredibly ambitious project, but I my hat's really off to you because, again, all of the work and time and dedication that you're giving it's really exciting. It's really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate your talking, and if you think of anything, or maybe we can reconvene and talk about that someday. But I really do appreciate it, and figured I'd share a couple of weird stories because I got a few.
Yeah, share anytime, brother. We'd love to hear from you again. If you want to call in, the lines are always open. But
all right,
you have a great weekend, sir.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Very cool. Very cool. And his work is really, really impressive. I think it should be published. It's well beyond, my ability to really quantify it. But when you look at some of the features he's highlighted, it's like, God, how could that have been formed naturally? That's just amazing. Now I got to say a thank you to Long Island Bigfoot. Says slap that like, subscribe button, or Bigfoot will slap your house. So unless you want some Bigfoot slapping going on, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like. and it gives angels their wings every time you hit the like button, is what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but you don't want angels crawling around trying to make a living. Give them wings and give me a smile. I always love it when you guys hit the likes because it shows that you're here and you love me. And I require love just to continue forward. But yeah, great call. It's really nice to hear from you, Jason. Thank you for calling in. We will definitely dive into that more at length on an upcoming show, but it's going to have to be here on YouTube because it is very visual, and you guys should see the examples that he's talking about. So it'll be on a Wednesday sometime in the future here. We'll dive into it and let Jason make his case and explain what's going on and what he thinks. But really incredible stuff. Very cool. So that'll be coming up on a forthcoming episode. I don't know when at this point. I should probably get in touch with him and schedule something out, but then I'll have to sit down and really pour through the work a little better. I've got an author, too, that sent me a book. It's really wonderful. It's a regional haunting book, but I've just read a little bit of it, and then we got to get him on the show, too. I've got a lot to do. It's not easy, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy, but I love doing it. It's a labor of love right here on the Paranormal Portal. And speaking of labors of love, if you're sitting here watching on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live, you've already experienced Freaky Friday. You're now into the Paranormal Portal. And after this, you can visit the spaces between, because our good friend Paisley Wild will be coming up next on the spaces between, and she'll be doing her deal. Her show is really fun. If you haven't listened to it, it's a great place to get a lot of incredible comprehensive knowledge about the esoteric systems and some of the details and the pagan observations and such. She's done a great job. She talks about crystals. She talks about chakras. She talks about energy. She talks about practices. And she's just a marvelous person, a wonderful friend of ours. So if you can check her out, that'd be cool. We love that. And then later on, of course, will come the Duke on World Bigfoot Radio. So that'll be coming up after that. All kinds of fun stuff. Let me get to this call. Hello, is that UD?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. We just got about a minute until the break, but what's on your mind tonight, my lady? If you want to stay on hold, you sir can.
Well,
we'll come back to you on the other side. Go ahead.
Okay, well, just wanted to say, of course, this is an interest of mine, the U-parts and stuff, and I've been working on the whole trying to piece together everything for quite some time between the monoliths and the megaliths and the mountain faces that are actually faces.
Yeah.
And the giant caves that are actually body cavities. I mean, it's crazy to think that humans once lived, or something that resembled humans once lived, that were that huge.
Yeah.
As some of these beings must have been.
Yes.
On this planet, in that we are actually living on petrified remains of beings. But we are. It's almost 100%, especially if you check out what a lot of the remote viewers are seeing when they look back in time.
Okay, Dee, so hold the line, and we'll come back to you on the other side, but hold the line about the remote viewers. I want to hear about that when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll just take a quick break here, and we'll come back for the last half hour. My God, last half hour already. It's flying, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
The reviews for Extendivite are amazing.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Last half hour of our show tonight. It has absolutely flown by, but I really appreciate you guys being here with me and going through the portal together in harmony, or in fun, or in fear, or whatever you're feeling. We're together. That's what's important. Together. Currently, we are on a call with our very own Dee Swiger, who has been on hold throughout the break, but I'm coming back to her now, and she's talking about the idea that we are living among the bodies of these ancient titans, where caves are body cavities and stuff. So let's get back to her. Are you there, Dee?
Yes, I am. Actually, there are several things involved in this, and it all is a part of our stolen history. We have pretty much had our history stolen from us. It's very obvious I am in touch with now several remote viewing groups, and we all have found very similar results. Our history is what we have been told it is at all. Most of it is a total lie.
And I think most people equate that to mean, well, it wasn't so nice in the ancient West and, all this, but you're talking about the planet history, right?
I'm talking about the history of our planet. It's nothing like they told us.
I would agree.
We did
I definitely agree. I definitely agree,
yeah. Yes, and it's obvious. The more people looking into this, the more... and it's not just the remote viewers that are seeing this, but they are corroborating this. And I myself have seen things. We did a ceremony where we were doing crossings over to relieve the burden of sorrow on this world, because it came to more than one of us at a time, that maybe one of the reasons we're having so many problems is that earthbound souls are not happy generally. A lot of them are not very happy.
Sure.
And we could be feeling their angst as well. And it might be a good idea. Some of these disasters have been so huge that nobody was around to tell the tale or cross anybody over that might have been confused.
Right.
And so we took it upon ourselves to do that, to cross even the ancient souls over. And we went back 35,000 years, and I got to see that I wasn't allowed to go any farther than that, but for some reason. But I got to see some of what the Earth looked like, and apparently it has been very populated. And there's been times when it's had many more people on than we have now.
Oh, okay.
And they were everywhere. So that's part of it. But the other part of it is apparently, I don't know when these cavemen happened, but it wasn't any time recent.
Sure.
We not somehow, we're finding humans that look like us way back in history. I mean, there are many groups now that are going back in history to look at things that have happened, and it's amazing that we have people going way back in time. Not only that, but we have Roger at Mud Fossil University, that I think I've mentioned him before.
Sure.
That I have a call coming in. I think I mentioned him before. He's done extensive work with the mud fossils, the ones that we're talking about. It turns out that the bowels of the earth is not just a saying. A mountain face is not just a saying. That's what they literally are. As a matter of fact, he says, I can tell you exactly where to find gold. I can tell you where to find gold because I can tell you where it would be found if it was in the body. I can tell you where to find, these different transitional elements and stuff. He says you only have to walk 20 minutes and you can find body parts that are that have been preserved as stone. They're all over the place. And once you see some of these, and actually I was putting this together at one time, but I got kind of diverted. I was putting this presentation together too, where some of these caves, I mean, it's undeniable when you see something like Womb Cave, and there's more than one.
When you see what
it's
cave?
Undeniable. This cave
What
has
cave?
a cervix.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Womb cave.
womb. Okay. WOMB. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, WOMB.
Okay.
Womb Cave, and that's what it's called, is a cave that it looks exactly like what it sounds like, and it even has a cervix. Now, there are other things, too. I mean, there are things that are obviously hearts. He found a heart, something that would be a human heart, but the person would have to be like 15 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
But would look like a human heart, and you can see where the ventricles would be, and where if you were in a cave and you see the black staining, that's where the spent blood would be coming out. If you see the red bleeds out really easily. So all that red coloring is actually from the fresh blood. Now, he has proven this he has actually taken these things and gotten DNA off of them. Now, I don't know how that works, but he wanted to see if he could get DNA off of them, and he did. You can get DNA from some of these things still. There's still enough of it left. I guess not everything gets replaced.
Sure.
I mean, the deeper layers, sometimes you still even have liquid blood in them.
Oh.
And some of these monolithic statues in Egypt turn out, when they fall over, they turn out to have organs inside. And no sculptor is going to do that. He's also found other cryptid beings. Here we go with the cryptids. Cryptid body parts that have obviously taken damage, like been cracked in the head, and nobody would sculpt them that way, so this can't be a sculpture. And when you look under where the neck is, you can see that it has vertebra and it has other these things have organs in them. They're not, obviously, they were biology at one time. They were alive.
Is there any place where people can check out this kind of stuff? Is there some place online where people could look at these examples that you're citing?
Sure. Go to Mud Fossil University.
Okay.
The other part of this that is a piece of this is John Levy, Jonlevi, does a lot of work with the monoliths and megaliths, and he has found things that are, if you look at them without prejudice, that is, without prejudging them, you will see that these have got to have been prehistoric cities that actually were melted, where the rock actually has melted. And that some of these cave and tunnel systems had to have been cities, and that some of these structures had to have been just the top of a building instead of a whole building, and usually they're converted into mausoleums.
Wow.
But and they're all over the place. I mean, star forts are all over the place. That's another thing. It's like all of this is related. Everything is related, all of this. The Tartarians were much taller than us. They had a vast empire. We still see their realm on maps, listed on maps.
Huh.
So, Tartaria.
Wow.
Apparently, they were huge. They were, they could look a Squatch in the eye, a Sasquatch in the eye.
Wow. Okay.
So,
sounds like the Anunnaki.
So these, well, those might even have been big. You know what? It's amazing. We have had people of just every size on this planet, apparently. They've been like us, but just every size.
Okay.
Now, what you're looking at there is another thing. He's kind of a genius, Roger.
Okay.
He's kind of a genius. He's also got photon theories that he's working on and other theories that he's working on.
Okay.
But if you look at some of the other work one of his one of his recent ones in there. You're looking at some of his other stuff,
Sure.
but you'll find his work with the amazing mud fossils that have been found throughout the world, and he has managed to get some of it certified, but of course it's very expensive to do so.
Right.
So he can't do this. Oh yes, there you go. That one there, that head.
Oh yeah.
That
Okay.
was alive.
Oh.
That was alive.
Huh.
Yes. And he has found other things like that were alive, and you can see the structures in them. If you crack some of this stuff open, you can see that it was an organ.
Okay.
That it was a being, and it's amazing. And you can see that the cities, that some of these mountains that look like cities, they were cities, and you can see that there was some kind of universal, like what we will call the Tartarians, for lack of a better term. There was some kind of a civilization that was Earth-wide that had the same style of building, because we find the same style of buildings on every single continent.
Wow.
Therefore, you're there. It's undeniable. As we go into this more, we find that there is a whole history that has been totally obliterated. Easy for me to say. That nobody's been told.
Wow. This is interesting. I got to admit.
And they cannot prove that some of these buildings that they say they built, he goes into it. Now, John Levy, he goes into it and he says, this is what a Wild West town looks like. It was made out of wood. Mm-hmm. They had horse carts and primitive tools. And they're going to build these huge stone castles with all of this carving and everything. Well, then why don't they do that?
Yeah.
Why don't we see that being built today?
Sure.
And why do they last such a short time? It's because they're inherited buildings. They didn't build these things. They dug them out. Oh. Some of these things, the telltale thing is the first floor is obviously covered with mud.
Oh, okay.
So, once you get into this, it gets deeper and deeper, and you finally figure out, gosh, is absolutely not one thing true? Yeah, that's right. Absolutely not one thing that we've been told about our history and how it happened is true.
Huh.
Obviously, there was a whole lot of things happening here that we've never been privy to. And when you look at star forts is another subject. When you see that they're all over the planet.
What did you say?
Everywhere.
Star forts?
Star forts.
What is that?
That a star fort is what they're calling these star-shaped structures all over the world.
Oh, okay.
That have been built all over the world. That for some reason, these star-shaped structures are all over the world, and they're all built the same, to a very similar plan, and once again points to this universal civilization that was everywhere around the world that we're not being told about. And they must have been fairly modern to be able to craft all of this stuff, because we can't do it today.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff we cannot carve those monolithic blocks or megalithic blocks today.
Sure.
We couldn't move them.
Yeah.
We can't even move them now.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of people trying to move things they shouldn't. And it doesn't work out well. But
absolutely.
This is really interesting stuff. I gotta admit, I was not aware of this line of thinking. I'll have to look into it, but it's brand new to me right now. But I do believe that there is a lot of history that's either been completely ignored or not acknowledged, or maybe even covered up for whatever reason. I don't know. But I do think there seems to be plenty of evidence that there's been people here before. They were doing things a long time before they should have been able to. And there's a lot of mystery
Absolutely.
left in this for sure.
And there's also a lot of evidence that the Smithsonian had a lot to do with
Yeah.
hiding this.
Yeah. They seem to be on the tip of every one of these kind of cover-ups, and and I don't pretend to know, but you sure hear that an awful lot about the bones, the mounds that were unearthed with like 7-8 foot tall skeletons in them suddenly being taken away and never seen again. And,
Disappeared.
yeah.
Yes. Well,
And-
actually, we know somebody. Justin tells that story.
oh, is that right? Yeah.
When he was a kid, Justin
Okay.
told us all that in chat, that when him and his brother, as a kid, they found giant skulls.
Wow.
As soon as they told the authorities, they came and took them, and they never heard any more about them.
Yeah, that's a tragedy. I mean, I think it's phenomenal that they found him. I didn't see that chat. Oh, what was I doing? Oh, I was doing a show. I do miss out. I miss out so much.
See what happened?
I know you blink and all kinds of things are happening, but thank you, Dee. I really appreciate you calling in and sharing this. This has been wonderful. It's great to hear from you.
Sure. Okay, well, I think I might call in and talk about it again. I'll try and round up some sites and have the pages ready if you want. We'll do that sometime.
Okay. Sounds wonderful. Take care, Dee.
Bye.
Good night. Very cool. It's been a great participation. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there giant remains that are now mineralized around? It's a new concept to me. And I'm not saying, I'm not drawing any conclusions, obviously, but maybe it explains where some of this weird stuff comes from, where they're finding these, obviously more modern type of implements and aluminum. What the hell? When was that invented? Like in the early 1900s or something like that, and yet they're finding it in next to mastodon skulls. It's like, really, that shouldn't be happening. And I don't have any alternative ideas as to what it could be, other than, is it possible that they were here and then they got wiped out? Maybe it is. Maybe there's been reboots. Like I said, it's just a silly theory, but I don't know. It's the only one I got. It's the only one I got, but I do have an article I wanted to share with you guys. And I find this kind of stuff really encouraging. Now, this isn't really paranormal, but it is kind of a different approach. This almost looks like it's almost a return of shamanism to treating ailments. And this is a type of ailment that so many people can relate to, because it's affected so many people's loved ones. And what I'm talking about is Alzheimer's. If you've never had a family member get Alzheimer's, my grandmother had dementia, which is really very similar, but it's really heartbreaking to see these people that were such a major part of your life, get to the point where they don't even remember. And it's by no fault of their own, of course, and it's terribly tragic and scary for them. But I found this article exciting, and so I'm going to share it with you now. And this is coming from the New York Post, and it is, ayahuasca tea could be a breakthrough treatment for Alzheimer's. My God, that's small print. Let me blow this up a little bit. We only got minutes left here, but could hallucinogenic ayahuasca tea be used to treat Alzheimer's and Parkinson's diseases? Researchers at Complutense University of Madrid are on the way to answering that question. Their new study found that dimethyltryptamine, DMT, the psychoactive ingredient in ayahuasca, promotes the formation of new brain cells, particularly in neurons, as well as glial, G-L-I-A-L. I had to lean in on that. I was like, what? Glial cells. Recently published in Transitional Psychiatry, their findings come from 4 years of observation on mice fortified with DMT, who showed a greater cognizance capability when treated with this substance, says Jose Antonio Lopez, psychology researcher at UCM. The degradation and death of neurons is what leads to symptoms associated with neurodegenerative diseases such as cognitive decline, physical instability, and deregulated moods. To prevent brain cell death, is to stave off such diseases. And while it is possible to generate new neurons throughout life, scientists have yet to discover a rapid, effective means. The challenge is to activate a dormant capacity to form neurons and thus replace the neurons that die as a result of the disease. The study shows that DMT is capable of activating neural stem cells and forming new neurons, said Lopez's co-author Jose Morales. Two Amazonian plant species, ayahuasca vine and the chacruna shrub, combined to create ayahuasca tea, in the latter of which packs the DMT. But before scientists can entertain the idea of using DMT as a therapeutic or preventative medicine, they have to determine how to turn off the hallucinatory effects. Yeah, which, I mean, God, if you're already losing your grip on what is, and then to be seeing some of the DMT stuff, whoa. It says users say the drug induces out-of-body experience, altered perception of time, audio and visual hallucinations, and intense euphoria. It can also prompt vomiting and diarrhea, anxiety, rapid heart rate, and increased blood pressure, according to American Addiction Centers. DMT takes hold by binding the serotonin receptors in the brain, but researchers were able to shift over to another type of receptor that would not prompt hallucinations, thus greatly facilitating its future administration to patients. This capacity to modulate brain plasticity suggests that it has great therapeutic potential for a wide range of psychiatric and neurological disorders, including neurodegenerative diseases, says Morales. Its potential for treating dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases is one category of many illnesses doctors hope could be helped with the ancient medicine prescribed by shamans for millennia. More recently, it's been used in studies as a potential treatment for eating disorders, PTSD, addiction, and depression. At the same time, ayahuasca isn't without its risks, especially when used by those outside of a controlled setting. In 2018, a British teen traveled to the Amazon to partake in a shamanic ritual ceremony involving ayahuasca. His trip ended in tragedy after the 19-year-old, with no pre-existing medical conditions, died of accidental intoxication, according to a coroner's report. I know that it's very, I've talked to Chris about this many times, and I know it's very important to, fast and not be on any other kind of substances anytime near when you're going to, use the ayahuasca, because it does interact pretty negatively with a lot of different things. So I don't know the story of this teen. It's a heartbreaker, of course, but I don't know if it's possible he was on some other things as well. But anyway, is that hope? Is that, and here we are returning to the natural world to find the cures for our most persistent of diseases. And I think that that's really encouraging. And that's why the earth is our treasure, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we got to take care of it. And it will take care of us. That was almost beautiful. But anyway, folks, this is the tail end of the portal. Please, if you're not subscribed, get subscribed. I'd love to see you guys come back and be part of more of their shows. Don will be with me tomorrow night, of course, and we'll get into the Saturday show, which is always fun. We always have a lot of fun and a lot of laughs and a good time, so I hope you'll be here for that. Basically, Wednesday through Sunday, we're always doing portals, and otherwise you can check our podcasts out. This is not the podcast. This is YouTube. Two different things. Podcast is audio only, and you can find that on iHeart, iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, Stitcher, and a bunch more. So just do a search for the Paranormal Portal or Paranormal Portal, and you'll find it. So wherever you're listening to podcasts, if you're listening to Joe Rogan podcast or over on Spotify, do a search for the Paranormal Portal, because we're there. If you're checking out Sasquatch Chronicles, do a search for the Paranormal Portal, because we're there too. We're wherever those guys are. I don't think there's anywhere we're not, to be honest with you. We've got tons of distributors like that. So anyway, or platforms, I should say. But it's been an absolute pleasure, of course, being here with you guys. Please, thank you, Mary Bond. Love you all. Love you too, Ruthie. Good to see you. And thank you to all of those of you. And Bill, Little Giant Paisley is in there. In TFR, Bam's in there. Psycho Dave is in there. And then all of you in the YouTube, I'm sorry, I don't have enough time to do call outs to everybody, but just know I love you guys. Thank you, Justin. Man, we got to talk about those Giants, dude. I didn't know about this. You should be on my show talking about it. So keep that in mind. But anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. Whatever you're doing, definitely should stick around. Check out Paisley coming up next. Paisley Wild, The Spaces Between, follows us right here on TFR, iHeart, TuneIn, and TalkStream Live. And she does a YouTube stream as well. YouTube.com/The Spaces Between. So lots of great entertainment on this wonderful night. So I hope you guys will check it all out. Again, Don will be with me tomorrow. So I hope you will be too. Good night, everybody. I love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night, everybody. Sweet dreams.